Luke, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Cheers.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. People can see from the thumbnail and from the title of the video that we are going to talk about why do British people want to move to Malta. To be more clear, you're coming originally from
Wales.
From Wales.
Yes.
Okay. Look, the initial question, the first question is, why did you decide to come to Malta? What was the reason?
So Malta, to give you a little bit of background, is a place for me that I've visited for over 15 years. It's somewhere that I've come very regularly.
Okay.
So my grandmother is Maltese, so I'm part Maltese. And Malta for us was always sort of the annual sort of summer holiday. So I've spent over the years a number of years visiting Malta. Love the island, love the climate, the culture. And moving here was definitely on my radar. So a few years ago I did research it. But my job and my profession, I work in a regulated profession.
Okay.
So with my job, because it comes in the healthcare, it's not as easy as just moving to any country and obviously working. And then it was literally about a year ago, I was just not looking for anything in particular. So I wasn't unhappy in the UK, wasn't unhappy in my job. And as I was sort of on a Saturday afternoon, sort of reading some optometry news, which is what I do, it popped up at the bottom for a job opportunity for an optometrist in Malta.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you moved in Malta this year, 2023.
Yes.
As you mentioned, you did quite a lot of research before you arrived in Malta. You were looking for opportunity, and then it popped out, as you
Yes.
said, out of nowhere. You kind of already knew the whole lifestyle in Malta, how it is, but you were not ready. Moving to Malta from the UK, the first thing what people love, people coming from the UK, is the weather in Malta.
Yes.
You are enjoying it, I'm 100% sure. But of course you need to settle down in Malta. You need to
Yes.
find an apartment, you need to find a job, which kind of you already did. Yes, speaking about this, did you apply for your job while you were in UK?
Yes.
You got approved and you moved to Malta?
Yes, it was quite lucky. So a few years ago when Brexit was happening, obviously Brexit has complicated the whole move for British people to come to Malta. So when Brexit happened a few years ago, as a family, we took the decision to do our Maltese citizenship. So as I mentioned, my grandmother is Maltese, and my grandmother and my grandfather both have citizenship, which made my mum and dad and myself and my sister eligible for that.
Okay.
And when I did it, I said, Malta was on my radar as a place and as a country I love, but I never did the citizenship with the idea of in X amount of years I'll live there. I did it really as a British citizen to open my horizons, an EU passport, EU citizenship. So when the job opportunity did pop up and I saw job advert Malta, that was, one thing that gave me a little bit of a head start. But yes, I applied for the job essentially online. As soon as I applied for the job, I pretty much got invited to a Zoom interview. And then once I'd accepted the job, I came out to Malta to sort of have an in-person interview and meet the team and start looking at some practicalities of living here as well.
Okay. Now, when you moved to Malta in March you said,
Yes.
right? Yes, this year, you had to settle down, you had to find an apartment. So I'll start from here. How easy was for you to find an apartment? How was that whole procedure?
So I did a little bit not textbook, so I'm a little bit naughty in that way. So a lot of people advise
Nice.
don't rent offline and don't do all of this. But for me, obviously, moving to any country, starting a new job, it is a daunting process. It is nerve-wracking, and there's lots going on. And I was very much in the mindset of I didn't want to come here and live in a hotel or Airbnb. I wanted to come here and just give myself the best opportunity of getting settled. So essentially, the way I did it, I met a letting agent, quite reputable. I looked her up, did some research, and I gave
You
him
met them when you arrived? Or?
Yes, so I
Okay.
gave him my requirements and discussed them with her, and I actually viewed apartments on FaceTime when I was in the UK.
Oh, okay, as
Which
well.
obviously a lot of people that hear that and think, red flag, you shouldn't do that. But as I said, it's a little bit of a risk. It paid off, luckily. But for me, it was important that, when you're starting a new job and you're trying to get settled, I just had that stability and that sort of that apartment straight away for me. I didn't want to be in, in Airbnb for a few weeks and have to look for an apartment or be moving around. So I think that was a big draw. So that's how I ended up. Yes.
Where do you live? Which area of Malta do you live?
Guadamanja. So
Guadamanja,
Pieta.
nice.
So where all the British royalty live, because it's obviously where the Queen of England, or the late Queen of England, used to live a few back after World War II. So so.
How is it now when you mentioned this that there is quite a lot of British in that area? Finding friends in Malta, considering that you just moved this year.
Yes.
Of course, you will find so many international people from all over the world in Malta. How is it the friendship side for you, like meeting new people?
I think, as I said, it's just relatively easy, particularly the areas of Sliema and St Julian's. They are very multicultural. There's a lot of people, for example, working in the iGaming industry.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people my age. I think the difficulty is obviously when you move to a new place or country and you're working full time, that obviously can hinder you. So, when I was living in the UK and I moved from Wales to Plymouth to go to university, obviously I was living amongst people my age. I was on a course with people my age.
Yeah.
But when you're working, 40 plus hours per week, it is more hard to obviously make friends. I'm living alone, so again, that's another thing as well. So initially, the way I made friends was, making friends with colleagues, going out with them, meeting their friends, and just going out, meeting people. And it takes time. I knew when I moved here, it wasn't going to be something that was instant. I wasn't going to, I left obviously the UK and I had a social life there I lived there for 25 years, so I had a social life there and lots of close friends and family, but I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight here. It was going to take time to build up.
You said that you're living alone.
Yes.
How much a 25-year-old single man is spending per month in Malta?
That's a tough question. Including rent, I have a car here as well, groceries, going out. So directly in Malta, I'd say I spend between sort of 2,500 to 3,000 euros per month.
Okay.
You could spend less. I said I have a car, I have some luxuries that you could do technically without. But yeah, between 2,500 to 3,000 a month.
Do you eat out more or do you cook more? Because considering how much you spend, I think you eat out more.
Yes, no, I do a mix of both. I do tend to eat out at least once a week, and unfortunately I'm not one of these people to do a lot of preparation and prepare my lunch for work.
Yeah.
I do like to go out and eat and stuff at lunchtime. So I said I could definitely make some lifestyle alterations and spend less. And
going for lunch breaks in Sliema and St. Julian's, minimum is going to cost you like 12 to 15 euros.
It's not cheap, because obviously I'm from the UK, where you can go into Greggs or Tesco's or supermarkets and get a meal deal for £3.
Yes.
And then you go out in Sliema for a lunch and all of a sudden you've had a salad and spent 10, 15 euros, as you say. So it's...
talking about this, something else that popped in my mind that I wanted to make it as a video is about spending money in Malta on food. We mentioned this Sliema going out for lunch. Yes, if we sit down in a place and we have a plate of pasta, it's from 12 to 15 euros depending on the pasta. Pizza would be the same. But there are also the pastizzerias, the little corner shop where you can get pastizzi for like 60 cents.
Yes.
Or you can get a chicken wrap, which is like 4 euros and 50 cents, something like that. So there are options, but going into a corner shop like this will eventually send you to a place like sitting on a bench by the seaside and having your lunch break.
I mean, don't get me
which
wrong.
Is nice.
I love pastizzi. I love those Maltese delicacies as well. But when I came on holiday here over 15 years, I'd come and I'd munch pastizzi for weeks on end. But when you live here, you have to get the balance, because they're not the healthiest thing.
Exactly.
I'd love to wake up and eat pastizzi every day.
If you were eating pastizzi all the time, I would have had to take that sofa and put it here.
Yes, exactly. So you have to get the balance. So I tend to treat myself every so often with some pastizzi by the sea, and as I said, I have to try and eat a balanced diet. Yes.
You mentioned your work in the health sector, and I'm getting a lot of messages of people asking me to do a video related to the health sector in Malta. But they're more specifying about Mater Dei and working as carers or as doctors. Your field is completely different. Yours is very unique.
So yes, as I said, I'm an optometrist. So an optometrist is the person if you went in for an eye test in Malta or other countries in Europe, you'd see an optometrist. So they measure your vision, prescribe glasses, contact lenses, check the health of your eyes, and they can refer you onwards if necessary. So optometry in Malta is private, so we work from clinics or shops, and we obviously refract and test people's eyes. But we refer obviously to Mater Dei and the other healthcare professionals, but we don't directly work under the health service in Malta.
Of course, it helps you because you have a degree. You have to have a degree, you have to have a knowledge, you have to have a basic experience in this field so that you can get an opportunity in Malta. Even though you are a Maltese citizen, having the passport, you are also coming from the UK. Speaking about this, do you speak the Maltese language?
I don't, no. So I'm doing a course at the moment. I'm trying to pick it up. It's obviously, I've been coming here on holidays for many years. My grandmother's Maltese, so can speak Maltese. But I'm trying to pick it up as I go along. So obviously I've picked up the odd word over my many visits to the years, but yes, it's a work in progress.
Do you miss anything from the UK since you moved to Malta?
I think obviously the generic. I miss my family and friends. So I've got some very close friends in the UK. I've known for since I've been in school, so 20 years. Obviously, I miss my family. I think in terms of day-to-day lifestyle and the climate, Malta's obviously a lot better. So I wouldn't say I necessarily miss things like that. But yes, I think it's more the social element and that side. But at the same time, I'm blessed because Malta for my family is a very important and special place. So all summer this year since I moved here, I've
They've
had
been
various
visiting,
family visiting. I've had my friends this all summer visiting me as well, which has been great. So some of them for the first time in Malta, so I've had the pleasure of showing them around and teaching them about the island.
I had an issue with this because I had friends and family visiting like every other week.
Yes.
So I couldn't travel because I always have to host someone, and people were keep on coming for like 4 consecutive months, and I was like, guys, I need to go abroad as well myself.
It's tough, and I mean, I've used like a lot of my annual leave this year just because I've had people visiting. So obviously, particularly when they've come to Malta for their first time, you want to take time to show them the island that I know and the places. And obviously, when you've got a limited amount of annual leave and limited time, and as you say, if you've got travel plans, it can hinder you.
I like asking these spicy questions when it comes to foreign people living in Malta. I mean, foreign, you know what I mean. What do you think that Malta has more than the UK, and that's why you're here? Like, what drawn you to Malta?
As I said, Malta has always been a very special place to me. It's always because it's the family links here, and because I've been here so much. I've got 15 years of happy memories of my family here. I've got every year when I was in the UK, I'd be looking forward to the summer so I can go to Malta for a couple of weeks. So it's always been a special place, and it's always felt like a little bit of a second home to me, and that's what made it easier coming here. So coming and moving to a different country, I had comfort walking around, thinking about all the good times I've had here, the familiarity of it all. But I think for a young person, a British person moving here, the main draw is the climate. So good year-round sunshine. For this morning, for example, it's the end of November. Went for a swim.
So beautiful. I saw stories you posted.
So it's really the climate's brilliant. It can get too hot. Like this summer, for example, we had a heat wave where it was 42 degrees by day, 35 at night. But I think the statistic is something like 300 days of sunshine a year. So compared to South Wales, where I'm from, it's probably the opposite. It's probably 300 days of rain and 65 days of sunshine. So I think that's a massive draw. The climate, being outdoors, the sea, obviously surrounded by the beautiful Mediterranean. And I just think as a place, it's got a lot going on. There's a lot of culture, a lot of history, but also event perspective. Every week through the summer, there was pretty much something on, whether that was, a beer festival, a wine festival, a food festival, a music event. So we had, I Live MTV with Tom Grennan, One Republic. We had Summer Days, we had Glitch Festival, Christina Aguilera, obviously.
Yes.
So there's always something going on, and a lot of these events as well are free. So the I Live MTV was a free concert, and
for such a tiny island, we are having quite a lot of events, and sometimes people might say Malta is so small, you will always get bored, you will get like sick of it, you want to go abroad, there is nothing to do, especially wintertime. No, it's completely opposite. Like it's always busy, there is always something going on. As you said, there are so many events, some of them are free, some of them at a very low cost, so it's easy for you to have fun and enjoy your life here. I have 2 more questions for you that I want to ask you before we start closing off the video. And the first one would be, did you move to Malta and you want to settle in Malta for good, like forever? Was this your initial thought of moving to Malta?
I mean, when I went to university, after university, I always wanted to do a stint either travelling or working abroad. And obviously COVID got completely in the way of that because I graduated in 2020. I think when I came here, I sort of came here with a completely open mind. I didn't want to come here with a time limit in my head of saying I'm going to be here for 2, 3 years, 4 years or X amount of time. I came here completely open-minded as a young single person, settling into a job, a career. And, I've kind of said to myself, I will work and live in Malta as long as I enjoy it and it makes sense. And obviously right now that fits really well with my lifestyle and I'm really enjoying it here. And I don't see myself in the future or the immediate future moving away. But obviously you can never, it'd be silly for me to rule out completely because, obviously I have goals in my career, my life. And, if in, an amount of time Malta didn't fit with those and I had to, then I'd have to consider that. But as I said, I'm completely open-minded. I'm not coming here for, a 6-month spree or a 1-year thing and going. I am open-minded and I said, I'm just going to go with the flow and,
I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of people at the moment watching this video which they are coming from the UK, whether
Yes.
it's Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and they want to make Malta home.
Yes.
Maybe some of you guys are thinking to move to Malta for good and you want to settle down. Some of you might be watching this video and you are planning to retire in Malta. Some of you have families and you would like to come over to Malta. What would you give as an advice to anyone watching this video right now and planning to move to Malta, but it's scared? They're scared because of XYZ reasons.
I think there's
what would you
a
advise?
couple of things you've got to consider. I think obviously Brexit for the UK has majorly complicated things. So obviously I'm quite lucky in the fact that, you know, without really planning the move to Malta a few years ago, I was able to do the citizenship and the passport, so it gave me that head start. So I mean that's the first consideration, because I know there are different regulations for British people coming here now,
Yeah.
or work permits or visas, and like if you know you want to retire here, I think you have to have X amount of money in the bank and you have to
Yeah.
have some stable income. So those are obviously practical considerations. But I think the best advice I can give is, you know, really visiting Malta and becoming familiar with the culture
Good.
and the place.
Yeah.
Because I speak to a lot of people. My job obviously is patient facing. I speak to a lot of different expats from different
Yeah.
countries. And the ones that kind of say they're not satisfied with their life in Malta or don't enjoy it here are kind of the ones who never researched it or visited. They kind of came here blindly thinking Malta, Mediterranean sun, and then they realised that Malta isn't what they were wanting. Because I think Malta's a unique place. You know, it's an island, it's less than 30 miles long.
Yeah.
It's not got the landmass like Italy, Spain, those sorts of countries. So, you know, if you're looking for beautiful green spaces and national parks, hiking, Malta's not the place.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you can have a love-hate relationship with Malta. And I
Yeah.
think for me, the relationship is a love relationship. I very much like Malta. I realise it's got flaws here, there are problems, and there are things that, you know, when I go to other countries, I enjoy that Malta doesn't have. But I said Malta is unique, and I think, you know, if you're wanting to move to Malta, just spending enough time on the island, going to different parts of the island, speaking to expats, speaking to people here, and making sure it does fit with what you want out of life and what your goals are. And I said it won't be for everyone, but I think most of the time, you know, when it doesn't go the right way, it's because people
Yeah.
haven't done that pre-research or there's pre-visits to Malta.
Or they haven't seen my videos and they
Yes, exactly. 'Cause your videos were when I moved, well, when I was moving here, your videos were very helpful in, you know, cost of living
Thank you.
and areas. So
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad they help you, because even like this video that we're doing right now, in my initial thought was to help other people.
Yes.
Not because of the revenue of the views, but because of helping other people.
Yes.
Because just like you, I was 9 years ago in the same position of I want to move somewhere abroad. I was doing a research, I found Malta, but there were no any videos like this that I could watch. So they helped me. I mean, my research didn't really give me any information. I had to find out everything about this island on my own when I
Yes.
arrived. And now having this platform, I'm quite happy to have guests, and I'm
Yes.
quite happy that you came
Yes.
today on my show. Luke, thank you
Yes,
so
yes,
much
thank you.
for spending time. We'll make another cheers
Yes,
for
it's
it.
been a pleasure, and congratulations on 120,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes, I hit them yesterday.
Yes,
Woohoo.
well done.
Thank you so
Well
much, Luke.
deserved.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as well. I hope that you got some more information about Malta from another perspective, from someone that is coming from Wales and has been living in Malta for several months now, but has been coming in Malta for the past 15 years. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please make sure to like it down below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and until I see you in my next one. Bye.
Grazie
Thank you,
half now.
Luke.
Yes,
Oh wow,
grazie
that was
half now, Alex.
Maltese.